Good morning. Hello. Good morning, and welcome to Monday Morning Musings with Luna. It's lovely to be here. Sometimes it fascinates me how quickly the weeks go. I don't know, it feels like the days go slowly. It feels like the days go slowly, but the weeks go really quickly. I don't know if you experienced that. Good morning to everybody who's just jumped on. It's lovely, absolutely lovely to hear. Good morning, Lara. Pleasure to have you here, my darling. So yeah, I was having a bit of a ponder this morning, as I do. You guys know that I have a bit of a ponder on a Monday morning, and I think, what am I going to talk about to everybody who follows me, which I'm so grateful for, by the way. Thank you. Thank you for all of you guys who comment. I say guys, I don't like that actually term. I'm being more conscious of my language here. So big thank you to everyone, all the people who follow my my page. Just thank you. I love you guys all so much. I said it again. Conscious of my language. I love you all so very much. This is quite fitting because what I'm about to talk to you today is one of the elements that I'm going to talk about is actually about mastering our language. So I love that in my own personal way, I'm noticing something that I don't like in my language and realizing how I need to actually change that. So this is very, very cool. I love all you people out there. Everyone who follows me, everyone who hangs out with me on the page and writes comments and gives me love hearts like you are, I love it so very, very much. So a massive, massive thank you. You know, it's something really interesting. When people think about self-love, we think about confidence, we look at people who are, you know, like really quite self-assured and seem to have a lot of self-worth. There tends to be an automatic reaction that says something on the lines of they just have confidence. They are just the way that they are because that's the way that they are. And I think it's a really common myth that we think that people with high confidence, you look at someone like me who, you know, gets their body out, gets half naked on the internet, or if you've seen me at a Seven Sisters festival, you've probably seen a bit more of me than that. But, you know, I look confident, right? I look and sound confident, and I always have. I've always looked self-assured, but for a long time I wasn't. In fact, for the longest time I wasn't. I am now. I love myself now. But the confident persona that I was able to portray wasn't always the one that was actually accurate. And so when we look at people who are confident and self-assured, we just make this assumption that they will have always been like that they'll naturally always be like that. When the reality is that a couple things can be happening. They could be really good at wearing masks. Who here wears masks likes to pretend that they're something that they're not. Who often here feels like, and just give me a thumbs up or like a little love heart or something if it feels like you, that sometimes there's masks that you have to wear to kind of function in the world, that people have this persona about who you are that isn't really who you are on the inside. That's the first thing that's kind of going on. The second thing that's very often going on is that person's probably worked really hard at developing their self-confidence. That person has actually developed the skill of self-love. That's the thing. Self-love is a skill. It's not a talent. People make the assumption that, again, people are just born that way when it's simply not true. People are not just born with confidence. Some people are, but for the most of it, we're not. And actually, for the most part, each and every single one of us has been taught over a long period of time to not feel good about ourselves. Through the media, through our conditioning, through our programming, through our ancestral lineages, we have been taught not to feel good about ourselves. That's been part of the programming. And so that's the massive pitfall that people think. They think that it cannot be changed, that if you don't love yourself, that you hate yourself, that you feel low confident, that you have negative self-talk, that there's nothing that can be done about it. Whereas it's simply not true. There is absolutely things that can be done about it. And I speak from experience here. I hated myself for a really long time. I hated my body. I hated who I was never living my truth. And very often I would read a book or do some kind of study, and it would always address one part of self-love. It might address my body, or it might address my mind, or it might address my spirit, but I never found something that felt like it came into complete integration. My collection of tools over the years has never been something that's been fully integrated. Mary's gone, I use masks more around safety now, but I used to hide what I feared about myself. Yeah, so we kind of live in a world where everybody's wearing a mask right now, right? An actual one. But it's interesting that so many of us wear them anyway. For sure, for sure. That's the thing. So, you know, when it comes to self-love and it being a skill, there are literally things that we can do to make our self-love deeper. We can actually apply tools and techniques. I found for myself that as I searched kind of the world to try to build my self-worth and my self-esteem, there wasn't one thing that kind of touched on all the points. Because for me, I've now come to discover from the work that I do with my clients and the work that I do in my courses is that there is a formula. There is an absolute formula for coming to a place of self-love. And the more that you apply formula, you can actually practice the skills and get better at it, which is super exciting. I also do have some super exciting news for you guys coming up as well, which I'll review. Gosh, early in the morning, which I reveal in just a moment. I'll let you know what's coming up. It's very cool. But first I wanted to show you about the 6 elements of self-love awakening. Because this is what happens for you to be able to come into a place of self-love. It needs to be holistic. If you don't deal with your mind when it comes to self-love, it will screw you. If you do not deal with your body when it comes to your self-love, it will screw you. And if you don't come back to your soul, if you don't come and integrate into the higher part of yourself, well, it'll screw you. Either way, you're screwed. To me, there needs to be a full integration of self. So you are not just your mind, you are not just your body, you are not just your spirit. You're here in this plane of existence to experience all 3 of those things. So true self-love is about integration. It's not about getting rid of your ego or getting rid of your mind or, you know, getting the perfect body or sitting on top of a hill meditating for the rest of your life. To me, true happiness and true self-love comes when you connect all 3 of those things. And that's what happens in the 6 elements of self-love awakening. So, you know, the first one here, we need to master our mind. If we do not get control of our thoughts, then we cannot control our feelings. And then what ends up happening is that we have a lot of negative thoughts that are going up in our head. So we need to master our mind first and foremost. The second thing that we must do is control our language. We must get a command of our language. In the beginning of the video here, I was saying, guys, guys, guys. Now, if I'm calling everyone guys all the time, what I'm presupposing is that the women, the people who are non-binary, I'm not actually speaking to you. I'm not speaking to the women and I'm not speaking to the non-binary people. And that's exclusionary language. So we must command the language to be able to create it how we want it. That is the second element. The third element here is that we need to be able to learn how to be more open-hearted. We need to learn how to be more vulnerable, because to go out and live your truth is freaking scary. It takes a hell of a lot of courage to be vulnerable like that, to be your true self. It's actually a really big deal, so it requires that. The fourth one here is a really important one. It's embodiment. We feel so disconnected from our bodies. We tend to hate our bodies. It tends to be our slaves. We get cranky at it when it doesn't do what we want it to do. We force it to go wherever we want it to go. Just do what we tell you. And there's a complete disconnect and disharmony. So the fourth one is that we have to come into harmony with our body. And the fifth one, which is a big one. I know many of you experience this on a regular basis. Well, the opposite of this. We don't know how to set proper boundaries. We do not know how to speak our truth and say our no's and ask for what we want. So we must set boundaries. If we do not do this, our self-esteem will continue to fall. And finally, number 6, we have to come back into our intuitive guidance. There's not a special gift that other people have. Everybody has intuitive guidance. It is within you. Your gut feeling, I don't know, I just got a bad feeling about that. Your body, through your consciousness, will talk to you. Will talk to you when things aren't going great. And it'll actually if you pay attention, it'll allow you to guide yourself. It's super important that we have all of these. So we've got to master, number 1, we must master our mind. 2, we have to get a command of language. 3, we have to get open-hearted and learn how to have the courage to be vulnerable. 4, we need to learn how to embody ourselves and actually reconnect with the feelings of our body. 5, we must learn how to say no and set boundaries. It's scary conflict, but I can teach you how to do it for sure. And then finally, number 6, we need to come into our intuitive self. Woo! These are the 6 elements of self-love awakening. And a few things that's going along with that I've written an ebook. It is free, so if you want it, just leave something in the comments. Just say, yes, please, let me know. My website's a little bit broken at the moment, which is a bit of a bum, so you can't actually go there to get it at the moment. But just leave something in the comments and I will get the 6 Elements to Self-Love Awakening ebook in your inbox. Alongside of that, there is a course coming up. I know that there's people on the line already here who have joined the Self-Love Awakening Collective. It's an 8-week course coming up in the first week of October. So if you're interested in that, do let me know. We're going to go through all those 6 elements over the 8 weeks. It's a beautiful, supportive environment. But if you're not too sure whether or not you want to kind of come along to that, then join us on next Thursday. What's that date? September 10. Join us on September 10 and I'm doing an intro to Self-Love Awakening. So we'll go through the 6 elements. It goes for about an hour and a half. It's a workshop online. So if you want more information on any of those things, just leave me a message, comment, whatever. Contact me however you need me to. I'll often have my number or send me a message. But the 6 elements of Self-Love Awakening is really key element for you to be able to come back to self-love and to learn how to do it. You don't have to do this alone. There is many options for you to be able to learn how to take all those masks off, metaphorical masks, and learn how to come back to the true you, to integrate your wholeness and to come back to a space where you can live your truth once and for all. If you have any questions, queries, let me know. Absolute pleasure to have you all live on this beautiful Monday morning, and I will catch you very soon. Fond wishes.